you can be me.
I have no like.
All my heart's desires lead to comfort away from pain. No concerns while I stay a while. I take it in with a breath. Leave it all but the meaning. I carry that like the rest. Won't let a reason why be the reason we don't. Following a lack of doubt in my gut, in my throat. I freely give my love undefined by time, with no condition attached or entirely mine.
How are you, Jamie?
Yeah, man. How you doing?
I'm well. Thank you. How are you?
Where are you coming to us from, Paul?
I'm in Connecticut right now, just north of New York City.
Love it, Paul. Wow. Well, I mean, excited to see you. We're gonna see you on the road a little this summer. We're gonna cross paths at Bonnaroo right here in Manchester. We're gonna cross paths in Waterfront Blues Fest and all that stuff. So excited to hear the Iceland Sessions live. Paul, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Man, I gotta tell you this, Paul. First, I mean, let's start with this. I mean, what do you? And we're gonna get to the new album in a second because it's incredible. But what do you make of the fact that we're here in 2024, man, jamming like with your buddies, and now you're really one of the premier live bands in the world, Paul? Like, do you ever wake up and like pinch yourself? Like, do you ever kind of like what the hell, man?
Yeah, all the time, man. It's pretty incredible what we get to do and how long we've been doing it. Still don't take it for granted. It's fun. It's a good thing we created.
Yeah, totally. I mean, when you guys started, Paul, Colorado, early 2000s, what was the bluegrass scene like? And I wanted to ask you that because bluegrass now, for someone that is like younger than us or something, it's cool. It's very cool. It's a growing genre. It's filling out the arenas. But like, tell me a little bit about the bluegrass itself when you were playing that, when you started that. Like, was that cool, or like, did you see the potential there? Like, what was it like?
We started in Michigan, in Kalamazoo, and there wasn't a ton of bluegrass. There was like, there were a couple like open mic kind of things that had bluegrass and like open picks where you could go play with people, usually older folks. There was a festival in Michigan, still is, called Wheatland, where we would go and would play music all night and sort of learn bluegrass. But it wouldn't try and claim it was hip in any way. I booked the band in the very beginning when we were playing bars and stuff.
Yeah.
And I had to, I remember having to go through like a process of convincing the person who booked the bar, usually a bar manager or something like that, that people would like it. They were like, "You don't have drums in your band?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but we like cover Prince and stuff. People like it." So I felt like we had to sort of win people over a lot, and convert them to bluegrass. We played like When Doves Cry, for example. We've been covering that song since like probably 2002. And we would play that and people would be like, "Oh, maybe I do like the banjo." It was this conversion process. I kind of miss that experience sometimes. We have this thing now where we're lucky to have our fan base, and I'm really grateful for them. But, we're constantly appeasing people's expectations, which is great because they expect a lot from us. And wow, that's flattering. But winning people over who don't know us or aren't familiar with the band is like a different thing. It's fun. It's powerful. Maybe we'll get a little of that at Bonnaroo, I suspect. People who are not familiar with the band. And I don't know. It gives us, it was like an opportunity to just be ourselves. Not that we're not being ourselves when we're playing for our fans and stuff, but it's just different. We're going to miss those days sometimes.
That's interesting you mentioned that, Paul, because I like, you are like an athlete. Like, I've seen you perform live. You're one of the best performers out there. And it does seem like you have a chip on your shoulder. and you're bringing this forward, like that's when it felt like in the early days. Like how do you motivate yourself? Like how do you always? You're one of the best live performers, Paul. Like, and I can say that wholeheartedly. Like, how do you kind of get that chip on your shoulder now? You know, like what's your motivating factor if you have like a mid-sized festival, a boutique festival, then no one would have noticed if you kind of like tuned it in, like, but you never do. Like, what's your chip there?
We joke in the band about how every show should be harder, longer, faster, and better every time. Which is, likely impossible to achieve. Sometimes it's hard and there's factors, but I think we're lucky to be in a band that can play all of our material. We play our whole catalog still for the most part. A couple songs we don't play very often, but so we're cycling through 200 plus songs all the time. It keeps it fresh for us, and I think that challenge. And we play new things. We improvise, so every show is a little different. There's always a part of the show that we don't know what's going to happen, and I think a lot of those factors keep it fresh for us and challenging. I think that influences a good performance. We're not bored with what we're doing, and we're lucky that we don't have to do the same thing every night. I don't know how well I would survive in a band like that plays just the same set list for a year or something.
Yeah.
How it's kind of rigid.
Totally. Yeah, and rigidity and Greensky is not the same. And we are the luckier for it. Let me ask you about the Icelandic Sessions, Paul, because my God, I mean, talk about like front runner for like, not that you give a damn, but like albums of the year and like best year of it's incredible, man. Mind blowing stuff. Let me get this straight for my audience that may not know this. And the album is out now, but you guys last year had some shows in Iceland, and you went early, like by design, and you you go to like Flóki Studios, like very remote section of like Northern Iceland, and you just like start working.
Yes, we brought our friend Holly Bowling that we play music with a lot, a pianist. She's incredible musician, learning person. And you've been playing with her sort of as a special feature for a couple of years. More and more often. So we decided to bring her to Iceland for this event, and then also to record with her. And it was awesome to create songs from the beginning with her. She's played on so many of our songs. We have alternate arrangements for them with her. Like over 100 of our songs, and to actually build the songs with her and for her to have her own parts when the songs are created was really, really awesome. And made this experience unique from anything we've ever done. To have another musician with us for the whole thing. We met up in North Carolina before we went to Iceland, and we rented a house, and we played for like 3 days together, the 6 of us. We worked on like 8 or 9 tunes, I think. And then from that, we selected 4 to record in Iceland. So we did 1 each day. We were there for 4 days. But we met up in North Carolina, played for a couple of days. We went and played a festival in Virginia that one of my bandmates is actually playing right now called Rooster Walk.
Oh, Rooster Walk, yeah.
And then we drove overnight to an airport that we could fly directly to Iceland. And then we went directly to the studio. We got there at like 12:30 at night, in the middle of the night, 2 or something.
So after Rooster Walk in Martinsville, you drove, and then like you were in Iceland like 2 days later.
Like 18 hours later. Like we didn't sleep. Got there in the middle of the night, went to sleep for a couple hours, and then went to the studio and just cranked it out. And it was so remote. We didn't see hardly any people. The studio just got us food a couple times, but a day. And that's pretty much the only people we saw. So the person who got us food, there's like no one around. Occasionally someone would ride by on a horse from their neighboring property. But it was really, really isolated. And, people that are familiar with the Arctic Circle know that in late May, we're there right about now, it's light all night long. So we worked like 10 a.m. until 4 in the morning every day. Dude, we're grinding so hard. But it was light out all night. I mean, birds chirping at 3 in the morning while we were recording and stuff. It was crazy.
Crazy, Paul. Paul, like when you're in the studio, when it's guys in the studio, I got you. And everyone,
Right.
No worries. When everyone is in the studio, and you have 4 days to like really get as much as possible. What is and I'm curious about this. I'm not a musician, But like when you're in the studio, and it can be here in America or whatever, and it's like focus time. You're not playing, at a festival. It's like this is like you guys in the lab. What is the vibe like? Like what's the chemistry like? Is it like kind of everybody like super serious? Is it structured with a little flexibility? Like take us in there. I'm really curious about this.
It's pretty structured. We joke around and mess around a lot. The limited time frame we had forced us to sort of like really dig in. And then also just like not a lot of time to make commitments. Like the studio for us is making a record or recording music. A big part of it is committing to how the song goes, right? So these things on new material, and we would rehearse for a little bit on whatever song we were going to work on, and then we go into our places and we record the song. I think for this session we did like about 4 takes or something like that of every song, not too many. And then we sort of pick the best one, and then we continue to work on it for the rest of the day. Put vocals on it, redo solos, add parts, sometimes restructure the song like in the recording session. That studio process has become a big part of how we create songs now. We certainly like write them acoustically and sit around and riffs and teach them to each other, but when we're able to like get in the studio and evaluate it after recording it too, and be like, that part's not working at this part. So then someone goes in there and changes their part, and then it's like, what if you did this instead, or what if this effect was on the vocal, stuff like that. And then it's like in real time you can kind of listen to it and evaluate, did we make it better or worse?
Yeah.
For me too, singing, one of my favorite things in life to do is to sing in the studio overdub. Like we'll record the track and sometimes I'll sing it live and then I'll redo it, just because it's such a pleasure for me to record without playing and like really think about my phrasing and my word choice and my note choice and all that. And so some of these songs too, like I was writing like the final verse the day I was recording it, and I was like, I'm not sure I'm done with this verse yet. I don't know about this line, but I had to commit to something because we were on this timeline. And I think there was something really liberating about that, like the deadline, phenomena that people experience, where when you have to get it done by a certain time, it really forces you to do it.
Sure, absolutely. And it came out incredible. So, Paul, let me leave you with this, because I know you got a busy day ahead, and I appreciate your time. Let me leave you with the brotherhood of the band. You guys have been in 24 years through. I mean, you guys are like family. You are family. I mean, you've been through marriages, divorces, deaths, like the whole spectrum. Paul, what do you attribute like are the core values that like have held you guys together? And your fans, just like on research on Reddit and stuff, there's a very strong, like, more than music, there is a family like thing together. What are the values that you guys
have? It's really an incredible thing. I often reflect on the fact that I spent more of my life with my bandmates than with my parents, for example. Like I lived with my bandmates longer than I lived at home with myself. I think that we all, you really honor each other's creativity in a really powerful way, and everyone's we value what we all bring to the table and our strengths and weaknesses, and you're great friends. We share the same sense of humor. We like to do the same things for fun. We enjoy the same music, obviously. Outside the band, we enjoy a lot of the same music, and we do a lot of other things together too, sports or exercise or whatever. But what we share is really special, and I think that translates to our fan base too. There certainly is a real strong community that supports us and supports each other. I love being on stage and seeing the moment happen where someone I know who traveled for the show from California is meeting someone who traveled for the show from Michigan at a show in Colorado, and I see them together. And then 3 weeks later at another event, they show up together, and they're friends now. And then I can just I'd be like, oh, that makes sense. That person should meet that person. Or I'll see them standing next to each other, and I know that they're two people that I know very well. And I'm like, those two people would really like each other. They started talking. So I'm playing, and they're kind of hanging out by each other. And then I watch it develop organically. And then I'm going out for a drink with one of them after the show or something, and the other guy's there or something. And it's just like, it's really cool to be able to bring people together like that. Like the power of our music to create community is a really cool thing. It's great that our music helps people emotionally or whatever, but to be able to unite people and help people make friends and engage with people who maybe they have nothing in common with except for our band too. It's like, it's a really unifying thing. Music, it's cool.
Absolutely, man. What a beautiful thing. What a purpose that you've created. So, Paul, man, thank you so much. Congratulations on the new album, and we cannot wait to see you in a couple of weeks in Bonnaroo. You're gonna slay, man. We're super stoked.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
You too.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here for the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from J-Rod Concert Media.